Welcome to another episode of the Off Market Operator Podcast. Today, you guys are the first really kind of more personal show I've done. There's nothing here that's going to be actionable in terms of making money tomorrow, but stuff that I've found that really how I've conceptualized, work-life balance, stress, health, burnout, everything of that nature. It's an important topic to cover for entrepreneurs and business owners alike. So, whether you are currently struggling with any of these issues, or you are you have before, or you haven't yet, I think this show will be incredibly valuable for you, going through some of the stuff that I've had to internalize and process and create my own frameworks around scaling multiple companies to seven figures. So as always, you guys, without further ado, let's get right into the show. People don't fail at real estate because they suck. They fail because there's too many ways to succeed. That's why I suggest you focus on the most important skill in all of real estate, which is finding deals. I'm Ruud-Johnson, and in this podcast, I share the exact steps I've used to source 400 deals by age 24. This will allow you to do three things: control your deal flow, make unlimited income, and build your empire as an off-market operator. Welcome back, you guys. Today's episode is one that I need to make more of. There's shows that actually are meaningful to people because it's the real behind the scenes stuff that actually allows people to create these narratives around business, around where they should be, around what they how much money they should be making, things of that nature. So I get a lot of personal questions, you guys. I get a lot of business questions in my DMs, on my stories, when I do Q&A in person at conferences, events that I speak at, and I also get a lot of personal questions. I don't share as many of those because, again, they're not immediate actionable items in your business, and that's what stuff I want to give you weekly, is things that I think can actually help you improve your company and make more money. But personal stuff, you guys, is incredibly valuable when it comes to growing a business, because it's my belief, and I put out a post on this last week, that your business can't really outpace your personal development. It can for a while. With the longer you build on a shaky, unstable foundation, and eventually it comes down. And I've had that happen several times. I've had burnouts. I've had issues that I'll talk about in the show that I haven't really talked about a ton. So I'm going to get into that. This show's going to be a little longer, guys, because some of these questions are stuff that I think I need to answer at length. I might run 15, 20 minutes here. So bear with me, you guys, if you want to see kind of behind the scenes of what it takes. So since I was 18, I've been able to start 4 different seven-figure companies. Now sitting here talking to you at 25. And the past 7 years have been life-changing for me. I've grown my life in a short period of time to places I can't comprehend. And I tell my wife all the time, I truly feel like I've lived a full life even at 25. I've traveled the world. I've done incredible things with my family. I've met, of course, the wife of my dreams, and lived the life to a lot of sense of what I would consider a dream life. And at the same time, you guys, I can tell you, and I met a lot of my heroes that, for the most part, massive, quote unquote, massive success. I don't think I'm massively successful at all. I actually don't think I haven't tapped any of my potential really, on a not a long enough time horizon. But I've had a good career so far. And what I can say is that as I get into tighter and tighter and bigger and bigger circles in terms of the players in them, I can tell you that they're not any different than any of you guys and myself. They go through things, no matter how much money they have. They go through things. They have issues in their family. They get stressed. They get anxious. They get down. They have that inner voice that tells them they're not good enough, can't do it, should back down. They get the imposter syndrome. They go through the same stuff we all do. And I've had to really kind of settle myself down after meeting all these people and going, man, like, it's not the journey is truly the goal. And someone told me that, and it sounded so cliche, because I'm like, oh, I want the house, I want the car, I want the travel, I want this and that. And eventually you get there and you go, man, that what was valuable was the journey and the people on that journey with you. And those first checks are the most intense and the most valuable. I remember getting my first check for $10,000. It came from a bigger deal. We did $105,000 assignment fee, and I used to drive the title companies. I was just telling my wife the story, but I used to drive the title companies, pick up the checks in person, because it was so, like, man, it was so real, so magical. And eventually you get numb to it, right? The $105,000 check, you get numb to it. The monthly income, you get numb to it. Everything becomes normal. Your brain eventually normalizes everything. And what I can tell you guys, the most joy I feel where I'm at now is 2 things. One is kind of looking back on the journey and understanding that it's everyone's running their own race truly. And then 2, people is what makes it valuable. So the first question, guys, I want to really hit on is, going back to productivity, I got a question in my DM that was, "How do you get so much done?" And the answer to that, and the answer that I've found with every single person that quote unquote gets a lot done, is they never feel like they got anything done. And I don't know if that's a good thing, a bad thing, a neurotic thing. I don't know. But most of the people that I know, you guys that are massively successful, no matter how much they get done in a day, the main question they end their day with is, "Have I got enough done today?" And I was at a dinner with a friend tonight, 4 of us, and that's the same question that again this person was facing as well. And I would say they're successful in what they do. And I found most people that are successful in their field, that's the question, right? It's Kobe, leaving the gym. His probably his thought, even if he made 1,000 shots, probably his thought is, have I got enough shots up to perform? And so every single day, I can't tell you guys, I never feel like a day is complete. I never feel like enough calls were done. I never feel like enough work was done. And I've realized that entrepreneurs and high achievers never feel that way. And I've come to terms with that and I've embraced that. And so I'd say, people ask me the productivity question. I go, I don't know. I really don't know if I was wired this way, if it was, nurture or nature. I don't know. What I can tell you is no matter what I do in a day, usually I always feel like I could have done one more rep, one more set, one more call, one more email, one more strategic move, one more hire. And that's how my brain works. It worked in sports. It worked, it got me, way above the potential I would have had naturally in sports. It got me into incredible rooms. It got me incredible relationships. And I can tell you guys that's what's changed my life is embracing that. And so if you guys don't have that naturally, it's not a bad thing. But it might take more discipline to really show up every single day and move the ball forward because that's what it comes down to. It's messy, it's ugly. Business is chaotic. Businesses, you have partnerships that fall apart. You have money that gets stolen. You got things that get stolen. You got stuff that gets burnt to the ground. You have there's going to be a lot of days you want to burn it to the ground, and it's messy. It's ugly. And no matter how much a business or a person or entrepreneur seems like they have it together, it's messy and it's ugly and it's chaos. And there's no real perfect form for productivity. I found that less is more, and I constantly have to remind myself that it takes dramatically more focus and energy and intensity to get a task, a project done right the first time, and it's incredibly valuable the compounding you get by doing tasks sequentially right the first time and spending as much time as needed on each of those. You get way more momentum long term and compounding. And I've realized success is knocking down one domino at a time the right way, not trying to do 100 things at one time. That's my take on productivity, you guys. That's where I'm at right now. That could change next year, but where I'm at right now is I don't know. I don't know why I'm productive. I don't know if I am productive. I might be lazy. I don't know. What I can tell you guys is my workday is usually comes down to have I done enough? And I never really can. It's hard for me to ever answer that question with yes. So I have to do my best to accept that side of my brain and my personality, and then go and live the other sides of my life. And that kind of brings me to my next point of work life balance. And the second question I always get is, how do you balance work and life? And I don't. I don't. I mean, my wife knows everything about every company. We talk about problems. We talk about strategy. We talk about issues. Um, she's worked inside of our companies for a long time. We talk about literally everything. And I work. I'm responding to Slacks, emails, phone messages most of the day, every day, and on weekends. That's okay. And what I've come to terms with too in the work life balance, you guys decide is you can never let anyone tell you to feel bad about how much you work. And for me, work is sport. Work is something I know I can do my whole life, and it's more of a game, and it's fun. And yeah, there's stress and there's hard times, but I don't think about work life balance. But one concept I have really thought about, and I want you guys to take to heart, is kind of the lion thesis on work, where you can be a gazelle and you can graze and you can always be working on little tasks here and there and emails and Slack and phone calls, or you can be a lion and you rest, you have fun, you play, and then you attack a project ruthlessly and you finish it in sprints. And that's worked incredibly well for me. And so what I've kind of just come to realize for myself is that when I have the energy and the creative juices, um, that's when I attack my prey and I get work done, meaningful work and projects in a sprint. And then on top of that, understanding a lot of my best ideas, strategy, key decisions come from not being in front of a computer. They come on a walk, they come in the hot tub, they come on the boat, and I have an insight of a problem I've been facing. And a lot of times that's when stuff gets solved. And so understanding that if you're a creative, knowledge based thinker, which most people are if they're starting their own business, and most of it's strategy, and a lot of the best strategy comes from when you're detached from your computer and on Zoom calls. And so I've just really trying to internalize that the inputs that we think drive outputs aren't really true. Like it's the 80-20 rule, where 20% of your actions drive 80% of your results. That's true. And the entrepreneurs that get that and they can flip that, 80% of their actions drive meaningful results. Those are the guys that you see that have built kingdoms and are architects of massive companies that people envy and admire. So that's what a lot of my focus goes on now when it comes to work-life balance is what are the inputs that are meaningful? And what's come down for me is I spend about 4.5 hours per day in what I call deep focused work, which I have this thing right here, which it's actually going on right now as I record my videos for the week. Um, and I wind it up to 90 minutes. I usually will wake up around 7:30, come right to my office. I don't really have a morning routine. I'm not doing a cold plunge. I'm not doing a meditation. I love meditation. I abide by it. And I love all the other stuff. I'm not hating on it, but I wake up, come down here. Um, I go my first 90 minutes, um, focus work blocks on my phones on do not disturb. I have a project I've predetermined that morning or the night before that I'm working on. Could be filming a course, could be filming a training for my team, whatever that is. Um, Once that timer goes off, I put my work down. Usually in the morning, I'll take my wife to coffee. We have a coffee there every morning, every single morning we do. I get you home. I set the timer again, another 90 minutes, and same thing again. And then I'll have lunch. And I try to get 2 of those 90-minute blocks done before lunch. And then I'll do another one after lunch, one more, and that'll get me to about early afternoon. And at that point, I'll work out. I'll sit outside. I'll take a nap if I need it. Just understanding myself, like I'm a guy that I'm very knowledge based. My brain's always going, so I need to make sure I'm rested. And I'll get to that in a second. And so I'll nap, take a walk, take the dog on a walk, whatever I need that day and that time to recharge. And then I'll go into my afternoon call sessions, and I save my calls for the afternoons. And those could be team check-ins, those could be company calls, those could be coaching calls, whatever that is. And that wraps up. Normally, I'll have about 90 minutes of calls. That'll put me at about 6 hours a day of focused work. And a lot of people, they claim they work 80 to 100 hours a week. A lot of it's not focused work. A lot of it's busy work. And so I try to get 6 hours of focused work a day. And of course, other work comes up. You guys, other phone calls come up, other emails come up, other Slack messages come up. And so I'm present working, I would say, longer than that. But that's focused, blocked off time. And I want to build the biggest kingdom I can build with that setup. And then I focus on sleep. So I try to be in bed 10 hours a night. And most of them, I might be sleeping all those 10 hours, but I try to be in bed 10 hours a night. So 10 p.m. to or 9:30 to whatever that comes out to 7:30. And I'll, get the closer I get to 9 hours of sleep per night, the better I feel, the more engaged I am, the less emotional I am, the less reactive I am, the more engaged I am, the more creative I am. And so on the work life balance side, I'm very focused on my sleep, especially right now. And then the third one, you guys, is kind of stress management. I get a lot of questions on how do you handle the stress and the ups and the downs. And my answer on that is, as a business owner, you guys, you really need to turn it into your responsibility to separate your business from your ego. And I talked about this on a previous podcast. But there's a psychologist that I follow on Twitter that works with a lot of high performing people, and she talks about um, the thesis of if you're an entrepreneur and you have one leg to stand, if your foundation has one leg to stand on, and that's business. Every single business goes through feast and famine, up and down, big months, bad months, employees stealing from you, employees getting fired, lawsuits, blah 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 blah. If you have one leg to stand on the good days, you're going to be high as a kite. On the bad days, you're going to be depressed, and you're going to think you're bipolar the way you're up and down. So what I try to do, guys, and it's hard. I'm not perfect at all, but what I try to do is I try to build my life on multiple different things. So if I have a shit day at work, I can get in my pool, I can hang out, I can take my dog on a walk, I can watch whatever, I can read, and there's more things to my identity than purely work. And that's the biggest thing I can say to people on the stress side is, um, business stress is, if you're going to be in business, you have to accept business stress. That business is just the continuous solving of problems. That's what business is, the continuous solving of problems. And the more scale you get, the more problems you get, and the more people you need to help you solve those problems and be firefighters. And so, one, it's accepting that problems are a part of the game, and two, it's having a foundation that's not built on purely business, because naturally, um, that can put you in a bad spot mentally, and it can lead to burnout. And burnout's not a fun place to be. And that's kind of where in this podcast is my story of burnout was, but when I was I'm 25 now, it's about 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, when I was 21. And I was driving home from my parents' cabin in Suncadia, which is a beautiful place. And all of a sudden my vision got dilated, and my eyes, my pupils got small, my heart picked up, I got sweaty. By all means, I thought I was dying. I mean, what it ended up being was a panic attack. And for those of you that experienced it, you probably can relate for your first one. And I got picked up in an ambulance. I was literally like, I think I'm dying. I don't know what's going on. And they told me like, yeah, this is very normal. People get picked up in ambulance all the time for this kind of stuff because they just don't know what's happening. And did all the tests and came back that I was fine. But that led into much worse things. Continued that down that road, and eventually my body started shutting down. I started getting pins and needles inside my body, burning inside my body. My vision didn't just get bad. I wasn't comfortable driving. I had to move back home with my parents. I, a lot of pain, cramping, intense headaches, and a lot of other neurological issues that I go, huh, this is something going on here. And I went to doctor for about 3 years, 2.5 years, and they all told me, yeah, this is whatever, you're anxious. This is stress related. And I was like, no, I know my body, something's wrong. And finally, I met a doctor who was like, yeah, this could be Lyme, which I had no idea what Lyme disease was. I didn't know it existed in Washington State, but I tested for it, and I had very, very positive indicators of that. And I got come to find out that Lyme had pretty much shut down my body. And I got lucky that I caught it. I got on antibiotics, and I did about a year of antibiotics. I got a bunch of other treatments that cost a lot of money, and I've very much gotten a lot of my mobility back, my health back. It's things I still struggle with, but I've gotten back to about 85%. And what that really taught me, you guys, everything I talked about in the first show this week, which when it comes down to delegation, is I learned how to delegate because I had to, because I had about an hour or two a day I could work before I just needed to be asleep. So it can get bad, you guys, if you let it. So you want to make sure you prioritize your health. And the quote I'll leave you with is, um, when you're healthy, you want everything, and when you're not healthy, you only want one thing, and that is your health. So, I hope you guys enjoyed today's show, and as always, I'm going to get into the outro, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks, guys, for sticking around for a little longer than normal. We ran about 15 minutes here today. Again, I like to keep these 8 to 12 minutes, just tactical stuff, but I hope you got value from the personal stuff. You guys, if you did, DM me. If you guys hated it, also let me know, so I don't keep giving you guys stuff you don't like. But sharing on your story, sharing with a friend, a family member, means the world to me. I really want to get these out to many people as I can and continue to grow, help people grow just in the real estate business and business in general, as well as their lives and how their business can serve them instead of the other way around. So whether you're on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to show, please give me a like, a follow, a comment. And as always, I look forward to seeing you next week. And you are only one deal away.